Welcome back, our lovely viewers, to BFRM. Today's movie is none other than the grand cojones of detectives, Pikachu himself, Detective Pikachu, which is based off a Nintendo DS game in 2016.
I never got into Pokemon as much as kids my age did back in the 90s, but I knew enough to where I was like, okay, I know what Pokemon are, what they do, they get captured in the little balls. I knew a little bit going into this movie. So, here's what I liked. I thought the soundtrack to this movie was actually pretty good. Kind of like a mix of electronic and orchestra.
They also played the iconic intro theme song several times in the movie.
Of course. It's almost like they have to. I thought the music was used very appropriately. There was never a time where I was like, oh, that's kind of out of place or anything. I thought that there were some shots in this movie that were lit just fantastically. Overall, I'd say 90% of the time, the CGI was amazing.
As far as the design of the various Pokemon creatures in this movie, they didn't dip into Uncanny Valley territory or super hyper-realistic to the point where they almost look like Five Nights at Freddy's characters. They still had that cartoonish appeal.
These Pokemon followed the anime, the 2D designs, basically to a T. Because they directly translated those appealing designs, it looks amazing. It's perfectly done.
I also really liked the whole look of this movie, especially Rhyme City. I loved the neo-noir, Tokyo-inspired look this movie had. It really got me suckered into the world. I'll start with the two main leads, Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu. He took a lot from his performance as Deadpool. It's the same kind of humor, breaks the fourth wall a lot, very meta with his jokes. And I think he does the same thing with Pikachu, but in sort of a more toned down, kid-friendly version. He doesn't seem restricted by the role. He really plays well with balancing out the kid-friendly humor and poking fun at everybody else. So yeah, his performance was really good.
Pipe, yes, okay, I can. Shoving, pushing. My problem is that I push people away and then hate them for leaving.
He's saying you can shove it.
What? I can shove it? Okay, that's it. No, we're switching roles. I'm bad cop, you're good cop.
No, we're not cops.
Oh, God, that's a very hard wall.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Mime has the ability to make invisible walls.
Yes, I know. I happen to be a Pokemon too, remember?
Justice Smith, he really embodied his character well. He gave him a lot of emotional depth too. He seemed very endearing. Justice added a little bit of his own charm to the role, so I really liked that. The two main leads were really well casted. Everybody else, I think they could have had a round two in that casting department.
We have to talk about the Lucy character because I've seen better acting in middle school plays.
Stories like this spread fear, and they're afraid of fear. But I don't fear fear. I walk the walk and I talk the talk, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get the honest scoop, and that's the hard truth.
I'm sorry. Who are you?
The molding of the bad dialogue, the need for more takes on this character, I think, came to a head in a very distracting and unfortunately low part of the movie for me.
Up until halfway through the movie, she isn't given much to do. So she just has to sort of rely on her acting chops, which I don't think are really there, but I think she tried.
Now, I believe we should, such a warning, it's spoiler time. Let's talk about the story. The villain's motivation and the payoff are not connected in such a way that one logically follows the other. Throughout the entire movie, they're trying to uncover the evil villain's plot, and there's a twist with Mewtwo, and you think, oh, well, it's all Mewtwo's fault. Mewtwo's actually good, and it's actually this guy that wants to evolve like Pokemon do, but he wants to literally transform people into Pokemon. Against their will. Oh, the whole purpose of the movie is to find out, actually, Detective Pikachu was my dad! These two mysteries coincide with each other in the dumbest way possible.
Pikachu wants to give his mind to Harry, the dad, to give his life for him, essentially, is what the Mewtwo said. That's why the Pikachu in the movie has amnesia, and he doesn't remember any of this happening because it's Mewtwo psychic magic.
This entire movie, you're just supposed to take the movie's word for it that Pokemon can do and say and perform just whatever the script needs them to possibly do. I'm sure there's limitations, but I don't know that, and the movie doesn't tell you that because they assume, well, everybody who sees this movie is going to know everything about Pokemon already, which is not true. I do not know.
The rules of this world are very vague. They're not defined very well. When Tim is first traveling into Rhyme City, he is told in this video that this is a human and Pokemon hybrid metropolis where human and Pokemon live as equals and they coexist. When I first heard this, I had a million questions like, okay, do the Pokemon have 401k jobs? Do they have families of 5 to feed? Essentially, this is how it works. A human and a Pokemon become each other's equal, and they basically bonded. It's like you and your dog, who is your best friend.
There's like a reason why this villain guy wants to turn everybody into Pokemon, but I just don't understand what the point is or why society is better because of that. It could just be because he's crazy, but then that means that's a very weak reason for having a villain. It's just because he's crazy. We need to come up with better explanations and better motivations.
He did come off very cliche, textbook, corporate boss daddy, evil archetype. You could definitely have written him better. I will give the movie one iota of credit with him, though. In the tourist video, where Tim is learning about Rhyme City and how it works, Howard Clifford, who is the CEO, he says that the cure I was looking for was to evolve into a better version of myself. I think that line was really smart, and I think it was really well placed because when you do get the big reveal of the villain's evil plan, merging with Mewtwo was not only going to cure me of my physical ailments, but all of humanity can emerge into their Pokemon and become better versions of themselves. Now, if I were to rewatch the movie, I would think, oh, now I can see the whole time that even from the beginning, he wasn't just contrived to be the bad guy. He was the evil bad guy all along. You just didn't see it.
So with that being said, I think you know what time it is, Nick.
It's time for the
Final rating! Let's do this!
Yes, let's do it.
It does a lot of things that are good as far as a effects standpoint, music, lighting. A lot of that is really good. Acting, very okay to dreadful sometimes. Some performances are dreadful.
What are you doing to my baby? Get out of the way!
And story had some pacing problems toward the middle, had some bad motivations for the reveal. This really is for fans of Pokemon. And while I'm not a fan of Pokemon, I can see that there was a lot of love and care that went into this movie. So I'm gonna go with a 7.
Some of the performances I thought weren't great. They could have been a lot better. The 2 leads were great, though. Loved their dynamic. And the whole visual aspect of this movie, CGI and just how the city looks, everything from that, lovely. And I think even though I have some grievances with not explaining things very well and not defining what these Pokemon can and can't do, I still think for what we got, which was a fun little detective story with the inclusion of all these different Pokemon, I think it was pretty solid. I actually had a lot of fun watching it. Some of the action sequences were really exciting to watch. Watching Pikachu and Mewtwo fight off of the floats and the buildings, doing all their powers. This was a good finale. I am gonna give this movie a 7 as well.
Oh, yeah, boy!
Thank you guys for listening to us talk about a franchise that we don't really know much about, but we gave it our best shot anyways.
Please like, comment, subscribe.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Peace out.
Peace.
Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Pokemon. What is this?